I now declare the meeting open. The closing of the public session, the opening of the Parish Council meeting. Number one, receive apologies for absence in the book. 4. Okay. All those in favour of those? Thank you. To disclose. 10 minutes. To disclose members' personal interest in any items to be discussed. To disclose any members' personal interests, items to be discussed. No. To identify items for which the press and public may be excluded, or not. Possibly 14.3, which is to discuss a letter from Lafarge Tarmac Trading Limited regarding Lindrick and Brancliffe quarries.
Can you tell me why
I can't see
that
would be.
It's not written.
I think it's in the public interest.
It's not written in stone. It's just a suggestion.
Why would you suggest that may well be confidential?
Yeah, because it could be contractual.
If it becomes contractual, we can cross that bridge. But I think that's put in the public interest.
But the discussion will decide whether it becomes contractual or not.
Chair, I would, because we have discussed this in a previous council meeting, I would suggest that we deal with this in open session. My personal view is if Lafarge Tarmac are offering land, in principle we might say yes, and then go into further details with them. And if it does come down to money, then that would be an item to be taken without the present public present.
Okay, fine. We'll talk about it when it comes on the agenda. To confirm the minutes of the Parish Council meeting held on Monday the 20th of October.
Agreed.
Before we run the rush to agree, can I make some comments, please?
Anything what to do with what?
I'd just like to ask a couple of questions. On page 3 or 4, if I could.
Yeah.
On the top paragraph, all the writing there. At the end, this is about we change standing orders about filming at public meetings.
Yeah. Now,
we just had a discussion tonight about these cameras being on, filming members of the public. It says in these change standing orders, there is an expectation that reporting will focus on the proceedings of the meeting and those who are participating, rather than those who are simply attending. So why are we filming the public if that standing order has now been changed?
Chair, could I suggest that what we're doing here, this is the way the rules of councils, we are confirming the minutes. If a particular council says that is not true, then we can vote on that, but we can move on. It is not the intention to have another discussion about what we talked about at the last meeting.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't true. I didn't say anything
Can
about
I
that.
confirm the accuracy of the minutes?
I've made the point.
Okay.
Don't put words in my
So
mouth.
you accept the accuracy of the minutes?
Right. Can I also go on to 7014 directed lower, please?
What? Say it again.
Management of recording at Parish Council meetings. It is resolved that the NALC draft rules for the effective management of recording at Parish Council meetings be adopted as a draft proposal. How can we adopt a draft proposal? Or have we not finalised that proposal?
Well, my understanding of it is that first of all we have to decide to put something towards the council for adoption. So you've got to have a draft first, haven't you? Otherwise you've got no discussion point.
Yeah, but it says here we resolved to adopt a draft proposal. Surely that draft part has to be wrong. All right, we haven't got an answer, so we'll go on to the next
Chair,
one.
could I help?
Yeah.
My brain reels. What basically was NALC or wherever offering some draft proposals. Right? We resolved to accept them. There's no conflict in that.
Well, yes, because we can't. A draft proposal is a suggestion. If we adopt a draft proposal, it's no longer a draft proposal.
Chair, with respect, it's mutilating English language. They were offered as a draft.
Yeah.
We accepted them.
Yeah.
They were still a draft, but we have accepted them.
That's correct.
Right, I've made my point anyway, Chair. Can we go on to another one?
Right.
7214 Communications. And this is in regard to the letter from St James's Church. If
Yeah.
you remember, we had a very long and strange discussion on whether you were going to contact the vicar regarding the Bugle and police cruiser. Did you contact them?
I can spoke to Vicky, yes.
That's all right, thank you.
Can I just, are we just confirming the accuracy of the minutes,
Yes.
or are we doing matters
No.
arising? I'm
No,
confused.
no, we just, true record of what...
A true record of what happened. So it's not a matter of...
Somebody proposed that
Can
this...
you have a right to question them?
Proposed.
Don't accept them.
Only the
Second. All those in favour, please show. Right. To receive minutes of the Finance Committee meetings, the 8th, the 14th, the 20th and the 3rd of November.
I propose we receive those, John.
All those in favour, please show. Right, where are they? Oh, we've just received them, yes. To approve grants, see checks list for details.
Chair. I've looked at all those in detail and I would like to move them without exception.
Stuart?
Yeah, I would like to ask, I mean, we have an agenda item to approve grants. I turned up at the meeting tonight. I had a quick look at this document you've just placed in front of us. Can I ask the question is, why wasn't these items put on the agenda? How are we supposed to make, should we say, educated decisions of the council when we're getting bits of paper put in front of us 5 minutes before we sit down? The full list of who we're making grants to should have been put in front of councillors 3 days ago.
Yeah, well, this is one of the problems you get when we miss out for finance meetings, I'm afraid.
No, it's nothing to do with the finance.
So
meetings.
we've
Don't
had a
twist it.
proposal.
Just because you're incompetent, Chair, don't
Chair,
twist it.
can we nail this? I may not agree with you as chair, but I do not think you have to have this continual barracking and rudeness from this member of the council.
And party was speaking.
Can
I just
I,
raised a valid point, and you're going against it.
can I just about these grants, I think what the issue is, I think that these are grants that we've made fairly regularly.
Yeah.
Most years they are voluntary organisations, aren't they, in the community.
They're given out at the awards evening.
They're in Anston and we want to support them. So I think the feeling was that we probably wouldn't need to spend too much time because, you know, the amount hasn't changed at all. It's £50.
We've
already approved it.
And £100 things in the village.
Yes.
Yes, go.
Well, there's £100 for the Mitton District Horticultural Society.
Yeah,
Why
but
is it not 50?
that's because it's here. It's based here. It just happens to be called the Dinniton District, but I know that there's at least half the members are from Anston anyway.
All right, that's all right.
Chair, can I ask another question,
Yeah.
please? Have we received copies of the financial account from all these groups?
I wouldn't think so.
Right, because we have a policy that if anybody wants to ask for a grant, they normally send in their
Yeah,
financial
I'm
account.
told by the clerk that yes, we have got these.
Right, so again, why
They
have we
don't
not
come to
seen
me
them?
personally, but
So why have we not been shown them? Then finances might point out something to us as councillors that we may disagree with and say, well, that's particularly my...
well, if you'd like to just go through them on the sheet here, we can.
I've no objections to them.
Chair, I'm sure the
questioning the
finances are available for anyone who wants to see them.
Right. Can I have a proposal, please?
I move make these grants as listed.
Okay. So that's including all the payments?
No, just
that's
grants
not
first.
Just the grants, okay. All those in favour?
Can I just ask a question, Chair?
Yeah.
That comes within the amount that we sent for separate grants this year, that's right.
Yes, we've had a second, Stuart. All those in favour, please show. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Right, the payments.
Can I move that we make those
Can
as
I
well, Chair?
make a comment?
Yes?
There's a pavement 509221. Now, I accept that probably last year that was below the financial threshold and it wasn't anticipated to go over this year. But I think we ought to note that it's gone over the threshold now for requiring quotes. And we've now got 12 months to get quotes for next year. I don't want us to arrive at a situation next year where we are asked to suspend financial regulations. I think
Yeah.
we need to get this
I think-
nailed, John.
I think it explains this to you, why it's got this figure.
Yeah, I can fully accept that this year
it
it's
has
gone
actually-
over and it might not have been anticipated.
It is actually below the threshold, because it's plus VAT.
It's plus VAT.
Okay,
Fair enough.
yeah. Okay. All those in favour, please?
No,
Opposed and seconded?
VAT.
All those in favour, opposed by? All those in favour, please show.
Excuse me, Chair, what are we voting for?
We're voting for all the rest of the payments now.
221 onwards.
Now they've already voted. Yeah, now the payments, this is for the payment. Right, that's done. To approve payments and sign cheques. Yeah, we've done that. To agree budget dates for budget meetings.
I mean, Mike's key, because obviously we need Mike at the meeting, so
Yeah.
we really need Mike to put some suggestions forward. And
Do you want daytime, evening?
Mike,
Whatever.
Daytime or evening?
I think a mix, because then you get people who
Yeah,
work.
but some people are
working.
Yeah, we'll have as many meetings as we need. Shall we suggest half and half, alternate them?
Can I suggest, I mean, we'll have as many meetings as we need.
Yeah.
I mean, how many is that? We can't just say we're going to have never-ending meetings.
Well, we don't know, do we? We don't know till
I'm
we
just saying,
start.
can we have a decision? The other thing I would like to see is more of the meetings held at night time, because there are people who are at work during the day, and they find it difficult to get off.
How many did we have last year?
3.
Three.
I think if really, Mike, we could put 2 initial dates out, and then we'll see where we go from there and agree it at the meeting.
And have them in the evening?
That would be my
Yeah,
preference,
two
the
for the
evening.
evening. So can we leave that to you? Can we leave that to Clive?
5, I
Yeah,
think.
Clive.
Can I just make a comment, Chair? I mean, last year, I'm trying to think, we were late getting them on the council website. Again, I think we really need to give the public as much as possible. I have to bear in mind Mr Bunker's comments about the consultation, where having various other people's feelings on that. I think we need to, it's not giving us a great deal of time. By the end of November, I think we really need to have the thing sorted out. So we've basically only got two and a bit weeks, and bear in mind, I don't think we'll get to know some of the allocation from the Borough Council till in the new year, if it's like last year. So are we going to give them a bit longer for consultation if we can? I know we're sort of like second guessing here, but if we could extend that into January, because I don't think we're going to get information from Rotherham or central government till Christmas time, and last year I seem to think that wasn't passed through to us till mid-January, nearly the end of the month. So I'm trying to give the members of the public at least 4 or 5 weeks to be consulted on the website if we can.
We did say we'd actually set 2 budgets though, based on not knowing the allocation figure.
That was last,
So that was
Yeah.
something we already
I think
passed through. And,
I was reading some other stuff this week as well. I think there's also a chance that I think it was mentioned last year by Yorkshire local councils that Mr Pickles may well look at the larger precepting parish councils with a view to the referendum clause and things like that. So I think we have to be conscious that we're probably one of the bigger precept setting parish councils, certainly probably the biggest in Rotherham, and nothing's certain at this stage what we're going to get from anybody.
So can we leave it to our clerk to arrange those?
Let's make the point.
Yeah.
I apologise now, I'm going on holiday for a week, which is unfortunate. And the only person who really, or 2 people who are indispensable are the clerk and Martin as Chair of Finance.
We don't well with the
We
chair being
need-
dispensable. We're all quite
Yeah.
aware of finance.
Right, can I leave that to
Chair, it
you?
is very, very
Yeah,
difficult.
okay.
I'm continually interrupted. I think that is rude.
Yeah.
My mother would turn my grave if I attempted that rudeness to other people.
Yeah.
And there is only one councillor that does it. Could I make the point?
The only one council gets bullied as well by you, isn't it?
Stuart, can you leave it a minute?
We're
Leave
going to
it.
kind of make a remark.
Martin
anyway
is
from that.
essential,
He is.
and I very much hope that I can get to at least
Yeah.
one of those meetings.
It's essential that the chairman of
Get
the
as many
finance
as
and the
possible.
clerk are there,
Yeah,
certainly.
okay.
Can you arrange that as soon as possible? So we'll leave it to the clerk to arrange the first one as soon as possible.
Thank you.
To consider planning matters, transport issues and receive reports. There are no items for the civil parish of Anston. List 44, there's the extension to Dog Kennel Lane.
Leave it to the neighbours.
Yeah, I've been and had a look at this, Chair.
Yeah.
It's just straightforward. I think it's an extension first floor and at the back, I
Right.
think, and
Okay.
it's only two neighbours on there, so, and the plans were legible as well, I have to
So
say.
we accept those,
It's a
right?
change.
The other one is, which we've asked for, actually, the pruning of trees on the boat. The headroom's a bit lower, they need to be lifted up a bit.
Can I ask a question on
Yeah.
that as well, James? Do we own that land?
No,
Well, I asked you the question, not the clerk.
No.
Do we own that land?
no, we don't own
Right.
that land.
Who owns it?
It's the borough.
Right. So why are we paying to cut the trees down?
Under licence, we maintain it,
Right.
and this is why we're doing it.
Do you think it's right that we have to pay for our grass to be cut by Robin because they won't cut it for free no more, and then now they're expecting us to cut their trees?
It's part of the
something
licence.
maybe something we need to look at in the future.
It's part of the agreements.
We maintain it all under licence, the lot, the full piece,
I thought we did.
not just the raised beds.
So,
Can I just make a point? I think perhaps it's worth raising with Rotherham about this in future to see where we stand on it, because obviously if it's a drain on our finances and it's something that we're sort of maintaining, then being asked to pay for pruning of trees that are theirs but we look after, it just seems a bit of a lopsided agreement. I mean, I'm quite willing to take it up with Steve Allsworth and see whether we can, unless the clerk has a different view to that.
When all I say is that it is cultivated under a licence, the parish council have set that land out as they saw fit in terms of planting trees, etc., and I believe that one of the trees was planted by Sid Bennett, a previous councillor now deceased. So that was the way that the council looks after that bit of land. If you relinquish the licence, then yes, it goes back to the borough, but then you lose also control of how that piece of land is maintained and how it will look for future generations.
I still think it's perhaps a worthwhile discussion with Richard Jackson or somebody like that to see where we stand with it and whether we can maybe get a better agreement from our point of view rather than being one way.
oh, that's a slide. Yeah, that's all we can do on this.
I'll take it up outside of that.
List 45, item 1429, extension Houghton Lane.
No comment, Chair.
I've got a query on this, John. I've had a look at this and I'm a bit concerned, and it's perhaps something that might concern Councillor Singer at the end of the day. If you read through the application, it says that surface water from the site is to discharge into an existing watercourse. Now, I'm a bit worried that if that watercourse is, I'm not sure it's Cranfield Brook or something like that, eventually finds its way into the River Ryton and down into Anston Brook, whatever's on that area of ground that they're building their extension on in their stockyard, if there's anything there that's not very pleasant, it's discharging straight into the watercourse. I think any surface water should really go into mains drainage on Houghton, on the trading estate, and I'm a bit concerned that I go to the Tradivi liaison group meetings and we make good progress with them regarding their problems, but there seems to be a lot of extensions springing up on the trading estates there, and I'm not always sure what's going up, but if a lot of them are just putting discharging into the sort of nearby watercourse, then it does worry me slightly. I think we perhaps should take that up with the planners and see why this is the case, because if it's working its way into something that we're doing in Anston, it's costing us money, perhaps we should ask them to look at it.
I think it comes down to, one, it is a trading estate, and I agree with the thrust of what Kevin said earlier on. The fact is, we need businesses, we need employment. We can't just turn our heads away from that. Secondly, a trading estate should be treated differently to say somebody's application to build a down rate house in their back garden. Third point I make is, we know that the Environment Agency and Rotherham are particularly concerned about surface water runoff, and as they were with safety clean. And therefore, I'm more than prepared to say that rely on their professionals. There's nothing wrong with you sending an email in and saying, will you please check the surface water runoff, because there have been instances of pollution into Brighton Brook, which is factually correct.
It's happened with the coal prep plant at the pit. Everything went down Crown Pit, and it was
You are going back.
But as I say, I think it's something that there are a lot of extensions going off there, and there's still problems with lots of odour complaints from that area that we're not quite sure what's going on. So I think it's. I know Councillor Singer's right on the one for the Showman's Homes on Crampit. There was an item, what do you call it? A condition on the planning agreement that they had to be careful about what went on there. Now it was drained to make sure there's nothing going into the local watercourse. I would presume this would be the same. But as I say, we can just contact them and just say, is this right? But we can also have a look at the conditions and make sure that there's something is imposed regarding.
It needs looking at.
But I think it should be looked at.
Stuart.
Yeah, I mean, Clive's quite right to question runoff into watercourses. Just by accepting the fact that plan application in a business area, I think is wrong, because we're here to scrutinise planning applications to make sure things don't go wrong, not just accept them in bulk or willy-nilly. Clive, can I ask you, do you know what this company does?
I'm not sure, to be truthful. I didn't look at I don't think it actually tells you when they submit the application. It just says a storage extension, I think, in their yard, and nothing more than that. But I think they store various materials in the yard.
Can we ask you to investigate this?
Yeah, I'll have a look at it.
Come back to us.
Chair, can I just come again to Clive? Are you wanting to make an objection, Clive, or?
Well, it was a comment really that we're concerned as to that some conditions should be applied regarding discharge of surface water into the local watercourse. And we can also ask that and raise their awareness of it.
We can say that because of the concern.
We're just concerned, as it say, it eventually finds its way into Ryton Brook or River Ryton. So
can you do this for us, Clive?
Can we do this?
Well,
Chair?
it's better coming from Michael, I think, because it's just really to raise. Can I propose that then that we?
Right, we've got a proposal.
Just raise concerns with the planning officer regarding the surface water discharge.
Right, the proposal is that we raise concerns, tell the planning authority that we have concerns about the runoff surface runoff into natural culverts.
I'll second.
All those in favour? 10.2. I think you were going to talk about these three, Clive, aren't you?
Four, actually.
Four, yeah. It's the proposed Gypsy and Travellers site at Kilburn Park Station, which has been on the agenda before.
Well, I put it on the other week and we never got around to it, so it's been carried over.
Yeah, but it has been passed. Yeah, some time ago, a year ago probably, on the grounds because the ground was heavily contaminated because of diesel fuel that had been stuck there, tarmac and everything, and it would probably not be fit for people to live on. That was the way that we objected to it.
I think there are various, if I can just comment here, there are various people here I think that were concerned with this last year, the proposal for this site. I think some were here again tonight. It was the 15th of July last year at council meeting when I wasn't present at that, but there was an objection put in by the parish council regarding that. As far as I'm aware, nothing's changed. It's exactly the same same proposal, same site, and as far as I'm concerned, we should just reiterate our objection. I think we need to put it in again because this is the second time round, and the first one will not be counted now, so you have to put it in again.
The same objection.
Unless anybody's got anything to add to it. It was quite a lengthy one, and it also included Chesterfield Canal. I'm a bit. I would like Councillor Stonebridge to have been here tonight to add his views on it, because I don't think he's too happy about it again. So my view is we put this back in again as an objection as last year.
Joe?
Yes, I mean, I think I agree with Councillor Jepson. We actually put in an extensive objection, I believe, and we did add all the information about the Chesterfield Canal that had some very interesting ideas about how they might use it as a heritage site. We also said that one of the things we needed to think about was an overspill parking area, possibly for Kiverton Park Station, which is always very busy. So, along with all the information that Councillor Jackson has just given, we did we did, as I say, put in an extensive objection, and I think we should reiterate that, and that I don't think anybody's views have changed.
Well, my information is that it's illegal for them to be coralled in, and they will certainly be coralled in that.
Corralled in, you mean?
Yes.
As you probably heard earlier, I alluded to, I was asking questions at the last consultation about this. I questioned them quite extensively, and I asked the question, what was the criteria that was used for citing this gypsy site at the position it's going to be at Botany Dog Kennel? I didn't get any sensible answer at all. I also asked the question, why are we having 3 gypsy sites, or traveller sites you probably call it, it's a better word. Why are we going to have 3 traveller sites hoisted on us here in North and South Hampstead? And the person I was speaking to didn't give me an answer. It's like asking me 3 or 4 times.
Where are the 3, Stuart? Where are the 3?
There's the site down at Magilla, which is, although it's now owned by the showman, on the old unitary development plan, it is still to this day classed as a traveller site.
Yeah, and they wrecked it and moved out. Never,
Yes, the original traveller's been shown there, but the actual site is still designated as a traveller site.
But I thought the planning permission's got
Some
certain
restriction on it.
certain restrictions.
For Showman's Guild.
Yeah, they've got to be members of the Showman's Guild.
Yeah,
That's not really gypsies.
is at Southampton, by the old railway.
Yeah.
There's caravans there. And obviously now we're now the 3rd site at Dog Kennel. Basically, the guy told me we're having it. And when I said, well, that's not democratic and that's not a consultation, his answer was, if you can come up, to me personally, if you can come up with a better location that's agreeable with all, remove it. Now I find that as an answer quite appalling.
Stuart, can you tell me where the 3rd one was again? Where was the 3rd one? One's Dog Kennel, the one that we're talking about now. What's the 3rd one?
There's one at Magilla,
Yeah.
Southampton, where the old railway is.
Well, it's not really a traveller's site, is it, that? Come on.
It's
3.
There's more than one caravan on there, therefore it's a traveller's site.
Where is this?
Yeah. This is on the
Station
slip road of the old station.
Mill Lane.
Mill Lane.
It went through early
Can
this
say-
year.
That's not,
A traveller's site.
please, let's stick to the
It is.
facts. It's not a traveller's site.
It's class. I'm sorry, Kelsey, but it is. It's class. It's
Can
got
I-
2 or 3 pictures on it, and it's
Can I-
classed as a gypsy and traveller site. It's managed by that community, and that went through earlier this year.
I think, if I could just be helpful, I think first of all that particular traveller, or we're calling it a traveller site with 2 or 3 caravans, they've been there years and years and years, and the community
It was.
very much wanted them to stay there. They were very supportive of that. Regarding to the Magilla, most people I've spoken to, and I have spoken to, they're actually very pleased to see that that's being very nicely developed and very strictly developed according to the planning conditions that were made at the time, and it looks much better than it did, which was actually a bit of an eyesore, so people are pleased about that too. In terms of this Gypsy and Traveller site, probably people may or may not know that every local authority has by law to provide a site that is suitable or possibly suitable for possible gypsies and travellers. We haven't had one in Rotherham. We have not actually had one, primarily because in Doncaster it's not for travellers. I'm sorry, it's not.
I beg to differ. The site in Magilla is a
No, it's planning permission has been given to the showman. They are developing it, as I say, as a proper, it's for static caravans, and it's being well planned and landscaped, and that's that. But there has to be, each local authority has to, by law, to develop a site that is suitable for gypsies and travellers, and we have not got one in Rotherham. So, and primarily
That's twice you've misled the public.
Can you
primarily, gypsies and travellers have gone traditionally to Doncaster, and there's no reason why they won't continue to do that, but we do have to identify a suitable site. Now, I'm like everyone else, I don't think this one at Kiverton Park Station is suitable, and I will stick by the objections that we have already identified. I'd want to do that. It is quite difficult to find a suitable site, I agree, because mostly people don't want to have a gypsy and traveller site close to them, and I can understand their concerns. However, as I say, traditionally, most gypsies and travellers have gone into Doncaster. Doncaster do have a proper regulated site, and there's no reason why that shouldn't continue. But I appreciate that this is a difficulty that we've got to resolve and address.
Right, can we close this one down now?
Just quickly, let's just clarify properly. The site at McGilla is a traveller site with a planning restriction on it for the Showman's Guild. Don't mislead members of the public, it's wrong when you say we have no traveller sites here in Anston. And the second thing is, I look forward to Councillor Burton at RMBC Town Hall voting against the whip over this issue.
Right, we've got a proposal that we object to it as we did before. Would you like to make it stronger than that, Clive?
No, it's really just to reiterate, just for Michael sending exactly the same, but updated.
Can I have a second?
Can I just make one other point? There is another site at Wales actually that everybody seems to have forgotten about. I think that's 3 or 4 pictures. I'm not sure whether people in the audience from the Kiwick Park Action Group know about how many there are, but that one, I think that was another application went in there the other week, but I think that was turned down. I'm not sure, but I think that's 4 pictures there. So we seem to have, I'd say unfortunately, it all seems to be sort of congregated in this area, and I think that site is totally unsuitable. Compare with the Doncaster ones.
RMBC, when I was a cabinet member, identified Cromwell Lane at the head of the end as a proposed site. Because they needed government grant to actually make it work. It was going to cost a lot of money. That was decided in favour of, that was the one they decided in favour of, and ignored the others. And the fact is the government has turned them down flat.
Okay, right, we've got a proposal, and we're going to second it, that we again object to this.
Agreed.
Yep.
All in favour, yes?
Can I have a recorded vote, please, Chair? Sorry.
Yeah, if you wish. I think we've all voted in favour. Clive.
Sorry?
We've all voted in favour.
Well, I'd still
Was
like.
it unanimous?
Yeah. Unanimous, was it? Yeah.
If it's unanimous, then
We still have a recorded vote.
we'll still have it.
Sorry,
Is it
Chair,
necessary?
to Clive directly, if we do a recorded vote, this is why we get to 9:30 and people think we've not
Take long. I want to find out where people stand.
Well, it's unanimous, so we're all here, so do you need it?
I second the recorded vote.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right, that's it then. Yes,
Thank you.
4. Bridges?
4.
Councillor Bigley? 4. Councillor Burton?
4. This is the same objections that we
Yes.
played last time. Yes, 4.
Councillor Crowther?
4.
Councillor Ireland?
Oh.
Councillor Jarvis?
4.
Councillor Jackson?
4.
Councillor Brown? Councillor Singer?
4.
Councillor Thornton? 4.
That's it. Right. Okay, we'll do that. Move on to the housing development at the former Flaxon site, which is Brownfield, isn't it?
Yeah, again, I don't know what people's feelings are on this. I would like to see something done with it as soon as possible. The fact that it's a brownfield site should be brought forward first, but I have a feeling that it's one of these that's going to cost a lot of money to remediate and get ready for housing. So I think it's 30 houses that are proposed for that. I'd like to see it brought forward as soon as possible rather than people trying to build on Greenbelt first, which is out. What we've said as a parish council, we would support that, and I don't think there's any reason why this shouldn't be brought forward. The only problem I have with it is its location and the traffic that it's going to generate, and how that sits with Brighton Road and Wilberforce Road, which I presume may well be the entrance to it. But I mean, there are no plans at present. But I think everybody's probably supportive of that to get something done with it and improve it. So again, it's up to the council what they think. But I think
Can we just say that we welcome the...
I mean, we'd like it brought forward as soon as possible. And our only reservations are, you know, the traffic problems it may bring to Southampton Crossroads and that area, which again is another issue. Right, get pedestrian crossing.
Can I just say, I mean, I'm torn on this, because yes, we need to get the brown sites done, but as Clive said, it's a nightmare of a place for traffic on the crossroads, underneath the bridge, etc. I think there's also an issue of the petrol station. I'm not thinking you're allowed to build houses directly next to a petrol station.
I don't know whether that's actually
The point I
part
want
of
to
this.
make is, this will only be solved when the planning application goes in, and that's probably the better time to make the objections.
So we just mark it down as received then at this stage.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can say we support its development. You know, to the borough as part of the, because this needs to go under the sites and policies consultation.
Right, we've
Thing.
supported.
So I think we broadly support it, but express concerns about traffic flow in the area, or volume of traffic.
Now, next, C, the proposed development at Pennypiece Lane. If I remember rightly, the last time this was discussed, it was objected to on a number of, at least 3 reasons. Number one, it's accesses to a railway bridge that's got, over the railway bridge, it's got a weight limit, so it will be very difficult for heavy goods. The 90-degree bend on Mill Lane, you'd never get an Arctic round it. And there's a height restriction on the railway bridge, and that was why we said that we didn't think it was a goer.
John, I think you might be confused. This is for housing, not for industrial.
No, that housing on Pennypiece.
Yeah, so we're talking about Arctic. So
Pardon?
while we're talking about...
Well, for a start, for the building and getting the stuff in and deliveries.
Well, there's two diggers on there this today, and they must weigh a few pounds.
Yeah, and it's very
Two
narrow.
huge diggers.
I don't like driving up there when there's nothing parked. It's dangerous anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's suitable to have housing on there, apart from the fact that it's green belt.
Well, it's, if I just add a bit, Chair, I suspect Mr. Webster is an objector to this site. I've gone on the consultation information on the Borough Council website. I've got an actual plan of Northampton Conservation Area here, and strangely enough, half of the site is in the conservation area, and half of it isn't. So how you deal with that one, I don't know. I suspect the planners have suddenly thought, oops, we have a bit of a problem here. But having said that, we may, you know, you're looking at things about the transport, but Mandale are building 14 houses on there already, which, although they're causing a bit of a mess, and I've complained about the weight over the bridge, you're only talking about 38 on that site, which is not a lot. What size it would be, I don't know, and then what they would look like, because there's no detailed planning applications. I think the fact is, that it's in Greenbelt, and we've said we want building on brownfield sites first before Greenbelt. So if they were going to build in Anston, we'd look to Blackstones to be developed first, and then this as a later alternative.
Well, who owns that field?
I'm not sure. I think it's a local farmer that owns it, and I suspect, like all the other farmers when I went to that inspectors' hearings, their agents turn up and they're lobbying for all these areas to be built on, because obviously it's good money. I think some objections will be coming in because of the fact that land on Rackford Road has been taken out of safeguarded and is back in Greenbelt, and I suspect that whoever owns that may well be wanting to have that reinstated, because obviously when land prices go up it's going to be worth a lot of money. Surprisingly enough, at that inspectors' hearings I've never seen anything like it. It was like a feeding frenzy from the agents of landowners wanting to build on Greenbelt all over the place, and I can see the point. It's a lot of money to them if they sell them at the end of the day, but it did develop into a bit of a sort of a fight about it, and I presume again that whoever owns this land will be wanting it to be kept into the sites and policies document, because obviously they're going to be able to sell it.
Are we going to object, Clive?
Yes, I think we object because because of Pennypiece Lane, it's not a suitable road at the end of the day to accommodate with that. It's, as I say, it's a conservation area, Greenbelt, and all sorts of traffic problems in that area. That's my view at this moment in time.
Comments, John, please.
Well, it's a little bit like the last one, in a sense that before any of this happens, first of all, how land has got to be sold, hasn't it? And not everybody, and I take on board what you say, Clive, but actually there are one or two local landowners who were very keen to say they will not be selling their land and have no intention of doing so. And also, even if that happens, then a developer has to come along and then decide to put in a planning application. In other words, what I'm saying is it's by no means, this is not in itself a planning application. I just wanted to make that point.
Stuart?
Yeah, I mean, Clive just really beat me to it. I was, because it wasn't coming out, I was going to say we'd propose to send an objection. There's another thing besides the dangerous road, and that's the narrowing of the road, not the bends.
I don't like it.
There's no facilities in that area for 38 houses. Just say, for instance, you have a child who goes to either Wales School or Dinnington School, and for whatever reason, say the parents don't drive, how's that child going to get to school? Because there's no bus routes there.
Well, they can easily change those, Stuart.
This is another reason why we should be objecting it. The nearest shops are over a mile away.
Yeah.
So I think also the school issue and the shops issue should also be added to the list of objections. There's not, and again, we've also got the problem of we're bringing in extra housing into the village, and by that I mean both North and South Anson. There's no plans to upgrade the doctor's surgery. There's no plans to upgrade any dental facilities, etc. We're being foisted with more housing, and the facilities are not catching up.
Yeah.
My main issue is the transport issue, cars, movements, etc. It's not suitable. But just correct Councillor Burton, nearly all landowners around here are jockeying for position on this. You know, when these developers waive the checkbooks, you know, principles only go so far. When money's waived, principles fly.
Yeah, that is one exception. That didn't happen to us on our 32 acres, did it? He went swayed. He gave it to us half price.
They were never
So we're going to objection. We're going to send an objection to this under the same grounds as we did before. Plus,
we've never objected to this before.
Yeah. Plus the extra two of Stuart's.
We've never objected to this before, because this was safeguarded land last year, and the council never put any objections into the sites and policy document, other than the dog kennel.
I thought we
bill.
did.
No, we didn't.
We
never discussed it. We never discussed the core strategy or the sites and policy document. And we certainly never put an objection into this
Well, we're
land.
going to do so now then.
Well, can I just say that as well? But as far as I'm aware, the developers have already been in discussion with the Borough Council about this land, because that's the reason that it's put into the sites and policies as a possible thing, because they'll have talked to them whether it's feasible to get on there and how many can get on. So when it comes out that there's 38 houses proposed on there, I know for a fact that they've been in discussion with them last year about this. A lot of people's houses have suddenly gone on sale around there. If you notice what's going on, they're not stupid.
Right, so we're going to object on those grounds that we previously mentioned. Right, and those two extra ones, so that you could schools and infrastructure. Can't do it, or dentist anyway. But the doctor's surgery.
Opticians then.
Right, okay.
The facilities are not catching up.
D, the proposed industrial development off the A57 Todwick Road.
Do we vote on E?
Can we vote on D, John? B, we did. Sorry,
I
D,
thought we
C, we did
C,
vote
yeah,
on it.
well, all those in favour of that proposal, please show. And the next one is proposed industrial development off the A57 Todwick Road.
Yeah. Well, again, I put this on purely because, although it's not in Anston, it's next to the Anston parish boundary. I take Mr. Kavanagh's point that it would be nice if we could get rid of Quinns from down there and relocate it somewhere else, because it would save a lot of problems in Anston if I like to get rid of a lot of the sort of industry down there that brings the big lorries through. Whether they would consider moving is a moot point. I mean, it's something that we could approach. Maybe the Borough Council and say, well, if you're looking to build, and I'm slightly digressing on this one, Kevin, because I want that other site developed at Dinnington first, that's sat there with street lights on and everything else, and there's no reason why Quinns couldn't get on there. It's big enough, and I'm sure there's enough space for them. And likewise, still at the other industrial estate there's still spare plots on there, I think, that could be developed. So I think it's maybe a tack that we should take to try and move them out of Anston if we can get that down. That would be great. The thing I object to about that development at Todwick in the first instance is the fact, I don't want the one at Dinnington to be left and everybody suddenly descend on that and pick that because it's much nearer the Todwick roundabout. But again, the Todwick roundabout does not work at this moment in time, so I think it's going to create a bigger problem than ever. Everybody wants people to have jobs, everybody wants people to have houses, but I get a feeling that that plot of land there was earmarked for Maltby Colliery. They were going to use that for a lot of the industry, and it suddenly appeared as an industrial estate. My concern is not being driven particularly by Roswell, but by Sheffield Region Partnership that are wanting more land for things like AMP at Waverley that's close to the M1, so they can use that. So it's not necessarily going to be a benefit to Anston, Dinnington and the surrounding areas. It may be benefiting people in Sheffield rather than it is us locally. And I think that would be unfair if we didn't get jobs for people around here. Johnson's printing press, that was going to employ a lot of people. I think it's nearly fully automated. Probably employs about 8 people. And if there's one from Dinnington and Anston, then I'll be surprised. So that would bring many jobs. I agree with you. If we could get that as a trade-off.
People work at printing place within it and Anston in one side.
Well, I don't know. I'm guessing, but I suspect there's not a lot, and there's not a lot of people full stop. Yeah, all right, Ian. I'll move on.
Please make it.
I'll do. Give people a chance. You're quite happy to stand up and parade around, but stop with the people.
Excuse me, I'd like to say something.
Yes.
Two things. First thing is we're not here just to shoehorn things through. We're here to discuss planning applications, etc., and LDF plans. Right, this is another issue that I brought up with the planning people, although it's technically at the parish council area. I asked the planner, the guy who was in charge of the business side of the buildings, and I asked him if he'd done a survey of that land with respect to coal mining. He gave me a rather unconvincing, flustered answer, is that he was sure that the coal board had been informed. Now I'm reliably informed that that whole area that they're proposing to put buildings on, or put the big site on, was mined in the 1960s. So what they've done is they've done a desktop exercise by pointing out that this is a big green piece of land we can put buildings on, without checking the fact that there's been mining underneath there for the last 40 years. Been mining under there in the 60s. We have another problem. This is one of the reasons I'm going to object to it. This was mooted in the first plan, it disappeared in the second consultation, and it suddenly appeared again on the last consultation. I think, personally, around this area, we are being taken for mugs and taken for a ride. We're getting lumbered with all sorts of planning applications, and we don't seem to be getting anywhere. We make disagreements to Rotherham, and we're just totally ignored.
What do we propose to do about this one then?
Can I just say as well, Chair, again, we've got it bordering onto all the streams, I think, that run through that area, that backs onto that land, and again, it's a concern if that becomes a really big industrial park, that, again, it all leads on through the River Ryton again, and we're going to have problems with traffic that's going to generate, because at Gateford they're going to build 750 houses and a big industrial development there, and all that traffic is going to come straight to Anston, straight on the A57 to the M1. So we're going to, if we think we've got bad traffic problems now at the moment, it's only going to get worse in the next 5 to 10 years. So my view is that we object to it in principle. I don't know whether anybody else wants to add to that. It's on Greenbelt for a start, so that's your first starter for 10.
I feel a sort of sinking feeling in my stomach that we object. There are times, obviously, when we genuinely object, but there's also this feeling of we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like the other. But the point I want to make is that if you were going to develop former colliery land, you used what used to be called a coal board draft. It's been done all over the country. They're well aware of the dangers of mining substance. They're also equally well aware of the dangers of gas seepage from former mine workings. I don't know, it may be because I'm a school governor or what, or the fact that we've all got family in this area. People need somewhere to work. People need somewhere to live. Now our housing market is, without being vulgar, it's busted. But simply saying we don't want this, we don't want that, means that other people who will make those decisions from a distance will say, well, they always object, so we're going to ignore them. Now, I think if we were more cooperative about it, it would be a far better. Now, I'm not going to vote against the industrial development on the A57 Topic Road because it's not up for discussion at the moment. So, my feeling is to wait and see.
Chair, can I come in, Chair? Can I come in? Well, Councillor St John is perfectly entitled to have a different view to the council around it. That's called democracy. Some of us around this table are trying to preserve the landscape around our villages because the vast majority of people who took part in the survey that you did said one of the biggest reasons they want to live in Winston is because of the green surrounding areas. If we allow to be shoved and pushed about by RMBC and have all these buildings and industrial sites foisted on us, the few people coming behind us are not going to have a very pleasant area to live. We should have progress.
Right, can we just...
There's nothing wrong with saying progress should be
and then we're going to move on.
Councillor Singh's argument that the housing is sort of busted, yeah, that's true. That's not true of industrial. You know, there's industrial units empty all over Rockland Borough.
Yeah.
Can I make a proposal?
Joe, and then can we have a proposal? We've got a proposal from Clive, I'd like to second it.
Yeah, it is difficult. I mean, I was going to say something similar to Steve, I think, is that I actually accept that the housing situation is extremely difficult with enormous pressure on housing from people who, like me, living longer and still want to live in the houses they've always lived in, with 3 bedrooms and so on and so forth. The industrial situation I'm not so sure about, and it does seem to me that there are empty units, and I don't know whether there is any mileage in our saying, well, you know, can we somehow rationalise that? Have we got empty units that can be used before we start building other units? Is what I would want to say. Also, the other thing about the problem is we do have a density of building here, and yet we have huge swathes of land. I think 3/4 of this country is not built on. It's all green field. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I think there is an issue about the density of the building that we've done. I mean, we could be much more creative about the way we do it.
Clive, can you wrap this up?
Yeah, can I just say, I'm just looking through the planning there. I think at the last sites and policies last year there was a bigger industrial area proposed at Diddington next to the where Tredebia, and in that area there where there's going to be more industrial land sited. That's gone off this sites and policies this time. This has appeared. And what I'd like us to do is, I mean, we talk as a parish council, we're objecting to building on greenbelt land. Well, this is on greenbelt land, so that should be the first issue. And secondly, we will want them to utilise existing industrial sites in the Diddington area that are not being used at the moment. And as Councillor Burton says, take up the empty units there. Let's fill those and get those used first. Then if we need more, well, we'll look at it at a later date. But I think we should get the ones sorted out that we've got already, because we don't want that being brought forward and other areas left. It doesn't make sense. And I think we're concerns about the volume of traffic it's going to generate through Anston, which is going to be a further problem.
Okay, so let's sum it up then. You would like to propose that we object on the grounds that, first of all, it's greenbelt, and we should investigate the empty plots that are available at the moment before we
in the surrounding area before that's developed.
Is that what
and also the concerns about the traffic that's going to be generated through
can we have a second?
the A57 corridor.
Can I second it? But can I also make an amendment that the proposal stands as it is, with the amendment that we also send a copy of the objection to Todlick Parish Council, Kiveton Parish Council and Diddington Town Council.
Clive, did you hear that?
Yes, sorry, Chair, I did,
You would like to withdraw?
Yeah, I think, and then let that add that on.
It's just an amendment.
No, he's going to withdraw his proposal and the amendment.
I think
it's an addendum, actually.
addendum.
I think that's fair comment, because under the Roller Valley South Parishes meetings that we used to have, we would have discussed all these issues with Kivington and Todwick and other surrounding
Can I have a second
parishes
for
and
that?
Dinnington, so I think we
Second
should
to that, Stuart.
add that in.
All those in favour, please show.
Can I have a recorded vote, please, Chair?
Dan?
Councillor Baker.
4.
Councillor Bridges.
4.
Councillor Brindley.
So just, we're going to object.
Yeah, no, just read it to me again.
This one, object to planning application for LVO or LVO.
Yeah, object.
Councillor Burton.
Yes, 4.
Crowther.
4.
Councillor Ireland.
4.
Councillor Jarvis.
4.
Councillor Jackson.
4.
Councillor Judy.
Abstain.
We just said it anyway.
Still need to show some backbone, I have to say. Gone.
Right, I've got that.
Is
So
that-
the next one.
This
Cutler Public House.
This is my last one, and this
Cutler Public House.
this is for the benefit of Kevin. After the meeting last month, we had a brief word about this, and I contacted planners at Rotherham regarding the position of the Cutler Public House. As everybody remember, we voted to support an application to extend it because we thought it would be good for the community, bring jobs, etc., etc. And I was informed that more rumours were going around about the possibility of Tesco using it as a shop. I'll just read out a reply from planner. It says, we have contacted Tesco Direct and they confirmed they want to use the extension as a shop, and we told them they couldn't without a separate application for planning permission, as the extension was approved as additional accommodation for the pub, not as a shop. Whilst they could convert the pub itself into a shop without planning permission, because the extension has not been built and used as part of the pub, they couldn't build it outright to use it as a shop. Hopefully they will contact local residents before putting an application in, but we will have to wait and see. So that's the current position regarding the Cutler. Tesco have obviously doing discussion with the pub chain who own it to utilise that extension as a shop. Yes, you're right. But fortunately, because of the situation, they've got to put another application in. They can't carry it through on that one.
Work started this morning,
No, they'll
What on?
speak in the meeting, sorry.
On the Cutler itself.
Right, we're going to move the resolution.
Well, it was really to update people where we were. There's no planning application gone in as yet for that.
Receive it then.
So
Receive, all those in favour?
it's just really to update people as to what's going to happen. Or maybe.
Notification that 8791 Main Street was granted conditionally.
Receive that.
Can I just come in? We seem to receive things quickly rather than giving other people opportunities. I'm a bit dismayed at this. I understand the applicant, why he wanted to remove part of this wall, and I think it was a fair comment that I wanted to remove. But one thing that concerns me...
Can you use the microphone, please?
One thing that concerns me with these planning applications we have mainly down Main Street is they're in a conservation area, and every time we put concerns or even objections inside the conservation area, they're just totally ignored. What's the point of having a conservation area when we don't have no say in it?
Well, it's been granted a condition.
If it can just be helpful, I mean,
What the councillor said is wrong.
No, it's not.
We're going to...
Why do you say that?
Because we make comments on planning applications, we don't always win. That doesn't mean to say that we've been ignored.
Of course we have, because they granted permission when we raised
It's called
concerns.
democracy. It's
Right.
decided by the planning
To
board.
see.
It is councillors that make the decision by
If-
vote.
if I can just
We're
say,
receiving notification.
we are, but we objected 2 or 3 times in the past to an application, and that application was then refused. So it has been adjusted, and now it has been accepted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so we received that, all those in favour, please show. Right, to receive notification of a footpath diversion order, re-footpath number 3, that's at the bottom of Chapel Walk.
Can I come in again?
Yeah.
So again, this is another example of where we raise concerns about the diversion of this footpath. And again, this has been totally ignored. And I'm not surprised with ignored because RMBC had a financial interest in this because they own the land and they sold it to the landlord for planning.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
If I'm wrong, I will stand corrected. Did they not sell the land?
Beresford family.
Belongs to Beresford Butcher.
Aidan and Neil Beresford.
No, there's a triangle of land.
No, we're never there.
Huh?
Never there.
Never the Borough Council. Those belong to Eric Beresford.
Well, I've seen documentation different, and I'll go away and check, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I will tell you now, I'm convinced that triangle land belongs to RMBC.
No, the footpath went through it.
But did we not get a letter asking if we objected to it being...
We did. But can I just... I don't want to take precious time because I know there's quite a few other issues to go. But I went to the planning application meeting on this when the outline planning permission was given, and that triangular piece of land has also been owned by Mr. Beresford when he was alive, and it's now in the possession of his two sons, Aidan and Neil, I believe, or whoever buys that site off them. So unfortunately we've never owned that land, and neither have the Borough Council. I think people got confused about it as to who used to cut it. So because it was cut, I think people assumed that the Borough Council cut it, and then we cut it, and it got terribly complicated. But all they've done is it was allowed to be used as a green area by Mr. Beresford when he was lived in that bungalow, and people assumed it wasn't his land.
Two footpaths on that side of the Workshop Road. One goes down at the side of what used to be Star's Garage into Wilberforce, and one goes down at the side of Kirkby's and round the back. And the thing was, when you got to the bottom of the Chapel Walk, the desire line was to go across to the Jack Star's line, and that's why that footpath was taken. It was only the desire line because they didn't want to walk to the main road and then go across the road there. And that is why it became used.
So for quite a few years then, we as a parish council have been cutting the grass of a private landowner.
Borough Council
cut it.
Yeah, but we cut it as well.
We never cut it.
Moving on, Chair.
Right, can we receive that, please? To receive an email from RMBC regarding construction of traffic and other issues at the construction site at the junction of Pennypiece and Main Street.
Yeah, it's still an ongoing problem.
Big problem.
I've had the police down there and highways, and it's still not being resolved. So it's an ongoing issue trying to sort out.
Right, next one, to approve suspension of financial regulations 10.3 to allow for a single quote for tree surgery in Anson Stones Wood. And to approve the tree surgery in Anson Stones Wood. I think this is because you tried you couldn't get anybody else. Yeah, explain.
Yeah, the last council meeting, it was decided that we get an extra couple of quotes. I contacted 3 companies on the Robin Borough Council approved list, and none of them have actually come back with a quote.
So, any response at all from them at all?
I sent them the survey that had been done, and there was just no uptake of interest at all.
Did you, excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
Did you say, Michael, that this is a matter of urgency?
Yes.
Some of these trees are in a dangerous
The work
state.
is scheduled to be done in November.
So we need
Sorry.
to move
So
it.
can I have a
Can I just come in? Can I come in before we start making... Right. Granted, we've only been to the RMBC approved list. Why don't we pick up the yellow pages and look for tree surgeons in the yellow pages? And fax or email, whatever they do, and go back to these companies again. All right, it's a bit of a pain in the bum, shall we say, to do it. I find it strange that 3 companies have not replied either way. I would suggest we try again and try in yellow pages.
Chair,
Yes.
I disagree with that. The fact is that the Borough Council will have a list of approved contractors. Now, if they've got a list, no matter what the contract's for or the work is for, you know that they have been properly screened and that they treat their employees, etc., and health and safety issues with seriousness. What often happens is if you're on a council tendering list, if you don't want work, you will put a ridiculous figure in. There has been a case, occasionally they've won the contract, and then they have to work out how. The other thing is, they will be allowed so many refusals before their ability to be on the list will be questioned. But these, presumably through the clerk, or trusted clerk, were reputable business people and they have not replied. The work is urgent, please can we get it done?
Is that a proposal?
Can I come back in?
Yeah.
Right. It all boils down, the reason if we have quotes over a certain figure, we have to go out and get 3 quotes. The reason we do it is to show the public that we're looking, that we are finding value for money, is to drive costs down and to get the best job done for the best value. If we, and we do it quite regularly on this council, if we're continually suspending standing orders, it becomes a farce. We're not getting value for money, and we're just overriding standing orders for the sake of it.
But
We should be getting 3 quotes.
3 minutes, Stuart, that we've had 3 requests for a quote, the company's opted not to do it, that shows that we've done our job.
No,
And
you
does
can
anybody
go to
like
Yellow
to propose
Pages.
John, can I, who's actually, again, and I come back, so we did discuss it last time, who's actually saying that there's a health and safety issue and we've got to get the work done
Railway.
urgently? Pardon?
Railway, it's on their list, surveyor that we use.
The surveyor,
That we use, and
Their
they'll-
surveyor.
their surveyor.
Ours.
Ours.
Mr. Chairman.
So the advice-
Welcome contract.
the advice from our surveyor is that we have to get the work done immediately.
Chairman,
Thank you.
Yes.
we're in this position because we didn't act promptly when we got the survey in. If we'd taken the correct course of action when we got the survey in, we would have had plenty of time. We could have contacted and vetted ourselves, the companies.
Yes, you think probably right.
You know, we're going. Fair enough, we're in this position now, but we're going to have to watch that we don't get in this position in future. We're not doing the people of Anston, well, we're doing them a disservice by not showing that we're getting value for money. What's the point of having the financial regulations?
When this survey was presented to the council, and the council considered the survey, there was a recommendation there for certain trees to be done within 3 months. The council at that point decided that we would get the 6 trees done immediately. The council also decided that we would then try to look for funding for the remaining 14 trees. That was the only stipulation of council. So the council at that point could have asked for additional quotes. So therefore I went away, tried to find funding, which I reported back to council to say that the funding was not available for that particular type of work in the woods. The council at no point till now, or the previous meeting, has suggested that we want these additional quotes. So
With
there's no reason
the
to
greatest
suspect.
of respect, we didn't need to because it was in the financial regulations that that's what should be done.
Well, we're in the position now that we've got to make a decision because these trees have got to be done by the end of November. So I'm going to ask if somebody would like to propose that we... I'd like to ask anybody who would like to propose that we...
I propose that we accept we go back to the original contractor and have the work done.
Can you second it for that?
Do we have a recorded vote?
Who seconded it?
Can I ask, is that quote that we have had, the one quote that we have had, is it a reasonable quote?
I don't know, because we haven't had any other quotes to compare.
What actually happens?
But equally, there's an idea that we have for the kind of work. You know, if I ask for a quote for something, we have an idea.
The clerk accepts it as reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a seconder for this motion.
Well, I just want to say that I think as well as the cost, we've got to think about the safety aspect. If one of those trees falls
On
and
the railway.
seriously injures somebody or causes a major rail accident, we're going to be
In trouble.
even more out of
Yeah.
pocket.
Yeah, so are you seconding this motion then?
Yes, I'll second
Yes,
it.
seconding.
Can I ask Jim, what's the proposal? Because here it's...
The proposal is that we...
Just let me finish. To approve suspension of final regulations, that's the proposal down here. That's the item on the agenda. So are we going to vote to approve suspension of final regulations?
And to approve the tree surgery.
Right. So are we having 2 separate votes or one?
No, one vote. You do them both.
Right, can we have a recorded vote?
Recorded vote, please.
Councillor Jarvis wants to ask a question.
Yes.
What does the rule say? Does it say you've got to acquire 3 votes or ask for 3 votes?
Ask for 3.
No, 3 quotes, I'm sorry, not
Yeah,
votes.
quotes, yeah.
Can I just make a point here? I think we've perhaps been, and I hate to use this as a pun, I think we've been railroaded into this by Network Rail, into saying you must do this by this and you must do this by that, and I think we're sort of being pushed down an avenue or a road that we can't really get out of now, and unfortunately I'm not going to vote in favour of it, I'm going to vote against it.
Can I ask, is it why November? Is it because trees that need cutting down need doing in November? Or is it because they say they won't last the winter?
Yes, that's the reason.
The reason why this work is being done was precipitated by Network Rail, but the surveyor that we've got to do the work is commissioned by this parish council, so he's not, although he does do work for Network Rail, he was actually commissioned to do this work for the parish council. And the reason why it has to be done now is simply because in his initial report there were certain trees which he identified as needing doing within 3 months, and then there were certain other trees which he identified as needing doing within 6 months. So that's the only reason why it happens to end up in November.
That's the 6 months, is it? In the November.
That's in November, is 6 months. So we've got a proposal. Ian's moved it.
I'd like a recorded vote.
Councillor Baker.
Against.
Councillor Bridges.
For.
Councillor Brindley.
For.
Councillor Burton.
For.
Councillor Crowther.
Abstain.
Councillor Ireland.
For.
Councillor Jarvis.
Against.
Councillor Jepson.
Against.
Councillor Seaton.
For.
Councillor Thornton.
Because we're not getting value for money, I object. So I'm against it.
5 in favour, 4 against. So that's motion's carried. Move on to the next item, to approve the amendment to Standing Order 95 to reflect the change in legislation regarding the recording of meetings. And the wording of this can be found in the minutes of the last meeting.
Which word? Which word?
69/14.
Yeah.
Notice of amendment to Standing Order.
Well, do you need me to read it out?
Well, I'd like to come in on this. If we're going to approve...
To give notice as to the deletion of the sections of the Standing Order 95 which relates to photographing, recording and broadcasting, and is not permitted by the Council, it will be replaced by the following wording: in England only, the openness of local government bodies regulations, amended section 1 of 1960 Act with effect from the 6th of August, unless the meeting has resolved to exclude the public, the 1960 Act permits any person, including the press, who attend the meeting to report on the proceedings of the meeting, and the new provision of the use of the 1960 Act addresses the existence of different means of reporting, which include the use of social media, reporting as defined in section 19 of the 1960 Act, to include the filming, photographing or making an audio recording at the meeting, used as any other means for enabling people not present at the meeting to see or hear proceedings as it takes place, or later written reporting or commentary of the proceedings during or and after a meeting, or oral reporting of the commentary after the meeting. Section 148 gives a person present at the meeting does not have the right to give an oral report or commentary during the meeting. This is because providing such a verbal written report will make sure that the commentary does not give rise to any liable claim that the recording of individuals is made according to the Data Protection Act. There is an expectation that reporting will focus on the proceedings of the meeting and those who are participating rather than those who are simply attending. The recording of the meetings is subject to the rules of the executive management of recordings at Anston Parish Council.
Can I speak on this, please, Chair?
You can speak if you wish.
The last part you just read, we brought this up earlier, and towards the end of this new standing order proposal, it states there is an expectation that reporting will focus on the proceedings of the meeting and those who are participating, i.e. us the councillors,
Yep.
rather than those who are simply attending, which is the public.
Yep.
Can you answer the questions? Why are we recording members of the public at these meetings when we didn't authorise these two cameras to be put in?
Well, we've what, sorry?
We didn't authorise these two cameras.
We did.
to be put in. No,
We did.
We didn't agree. that
We agreed it a long time ago.
Let me just calm down. We didn't agree to put 3 cameras in this room in the positions they're in. And we certainly didn't agree to film members of the public. There's one there, there's one there, you can't miss them.
Can't see it. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah,
We
well-
didn't agree to film the public. Now, this, if we're going to adopt this standing order here...
Why
now,
have the public got something to be afraid of?
They probably haven't got nothing to be afraid
Well,
of.
those that don't want to be filmed sit in the far corner. That's what we have to
You
provide.
missed the point. The point here, this standing order says we should be focusing on us and not the public. So what you're doing is, you're going to have an adopt a standing order which contradicts what we're actually doing.
Chairman,
I move the vote be put.
But you didn't want filming in the
can I
house,
just
did
give
you?
my interpretation?
Sorry.
It says the proceedings and those participating.
Yeah.
If members of the public are commenting or asking questions
They are
about the meeting,
participating.
they are participating. Those who do not wish to participate, if you like, have the option
Sitting out there.
of sitting there. I think that distinction is covered from my point of view.
Right, I've got a proposal. Can we have a seconder that we adopt these measures? Anybody want to second this? Yes, who's seconding? Right, the proposal is that I read out. I'm not going to read it all out again. That we now adjust our standing orders to allow filming. All those in favour?
You still didn't answer the question, when did we agree to put this cameras in?
We agreed. I don't know offhand, but we agreed it and it was discussed in here. We voted on it a long time ago. Even before Pickles said, we decided that we would.
I proposed it, I don't know what the proposal was.
Can I just raise a point?
We move on.
It's 9:30. Are we agreeing to extend to taking
I have to go, Chair.
what they call it, or are we going to?
I'll second that.
Right,
It's. Have we got any?
we've got a proposal,
Urgency.
a proposal that we carry on for another 15 minutes and seconder.
I'll second it.
Right, all those in
Could I
favour?
vote against, sorry, could I speak against that? This is precisely, we started, I was here at 6:30, it's now 9:30. If we just get on with it,
Yeah.
we could have finished at 9 o'clock
Yeah,
and
I
still
agree.
had proper discussion. I'm voting against the suspension.
right.
of the
All those,
Can I also
all those in
speak?
favour?
Can I also speak? If he's allowed to speak, so can I.
Yeah, look, Stuart, the meeting is now closed unless you vote.
Just a minute.
All those in favour, please
Just a
show.
minute. If one person's allowed to speak, so can others.
All those in favour
Of what?
of just carrying on for another 15 minutes, please show.
I'm voting in favour.
1, 2, 3. All those against? 1, 2, 3,
But these are
4,
the people
5.
that represent you.
I'm
They're not
going
prepared.
against.
They're not prepared to put the extra mile to get your business done.
Deliberate.